Bhavatu Sahana Punaktu Sahaviryam Karavavalai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We have been studying. Anyone is new today? Anyone has not been with us all this time? Everybody is on top of Tamas, Rajas, and Sattva. Okay. So remember, Sattva is Tamas is a state of inertia, ignorance, indolence. Rajas is a state of activity, action, and agitation, and Sattva is the state of clarity, purity. Clarity, purity. Is this okay?
Yeah, a little towards your left.
Little towards my left. No, little towards my right, you mean, okay?
Yes.
Yes. Sorry, little bit of changes have to be done to accommodate the new state of affairs. So it's okay right now? All right, so Sattva is the state of, Tamas is the state of inertia, ignorance, indolence. Rajas is the state of action, agitation, stress. And Tamas is the state of, Sattva is the state of clarity, of purity, of efficiency. All this is Sattva. Now we are doing these with reference to different aspects of our life. We were on karma. So when we are doing Satwik Karma, what does that mean? It means that we are doing what we should be doing. Should be doing according to us, not according to somebody else, but according to us is the right thing to be doing. Okay, so firstly, we are doing what we think is the right thing to do. We are not doing it because we happen to like it, and we are not avoiding it because we happen not to like it. Whether we like it or not is incidental. We may like it or we may not like it. Like coming to class. Are you coming to class because you like it? Are you avoiding class because you don't like it? Then both of these are states that are not in Sattva. But suppose you come to class and you like it, or you come to class and you don't like it. Which of these two states are Sattvic? With reference to karma.
No.
Neither.
Same thing.
What?
Neither.
Either. Both of them. Either, both. Both are Sattvic. You did it in spite of liking it, or you did it in spite of not liking it. The important part is the liking and the disliking was not the determiner of the action. That's the important. Now, in the neither did you do it because you're hoping to get something out of it, especially some selfish fruit out of it. Okay, now I will go there and I will feel so calm and nice. No, that's not Sattvic. Or I will go there and I will become very prosperous, or I will become very whatever, I don't know, whatever reason. My wife will not be nagging me if she sees I'm in class. My husband won't be giving me work if he sees I'm in class. Any such thing. All of these, all the fruit-oriented things are not understood. Now, the Rajasic people, they behave very differently. They do things either because they like them, or they do things which they don't like. Like, see, people going to work every day. They don't really like it, but they go. Why do they go? Because that salary, that promotion, that competition, all of that is pushing them. And the consequence of all this is a lot of stress. So as Swami Chinmayananda used to say so beautifully, a lovely concept. I mean, he put it beautifully. Concepts are all the same. All the different teachers just put it in such nice ways. As Swami Chinmayananda used to draw this difference between labor and work. So Rajasic action is labor. It's agitating, it's stressful, it's forced upon you. You don't want to do it, just to do it. And work is worship. Worship, that means when you do real work, Sattvic work, that work itself is your joy. That work itself gives you energy to do more. It is self-motivating, it is self-propelling, it is self-energizing. That's real work. That you do it, it is like a worship. It's not a burden on you. Oh my God, I have my duties. My duties means what? What is life other than work? What will you do with your life? How many gulab jamuns are you going to eat? How many ice creams are you going to have? How many vacations are you going to take? All this is a very small part of life. How much time are you going to spend with your family after all? Is it God just with you? How much you will do of anything? Maximum time you're going to spend, everybody is going to spend, it's going to be in work. And if your work is not your worship, then you're not worshipping most of the time. So that approach towards work, which is, it is my joy, it is my energy, that approach, you're not doing it because it is joy, please, but the higher ideal propels you to higher and greater things. You're able to see more. That's the clarity of sattva coming through. What can I do which would be most beneficial to people, most beneficial to my community? What is that thing I can do to whatever area I am? That application, rather than that mechanical daily grind of doing the same thing over and over again. That kind of work is so inspiring. Always act. Okay, so Sattvic work is work. Action, any action. All action should be done like that. Whether you're with your family, whether you're going on a vacation, or whether you are doing your work or your avocation, whatever it is. First, it will be like worship. It is Sattvic. It will be stressful. It will be bothersome. It will be a lot of effort if it is Rajas. And what happens when you're doing Tamasic kind of work? Did we read Tamasic work?
No, we didn't. Jankiji, one question.
Yeah, Bharat.
Yeah, so eventually, I mean, going back to likes and dislikes, eventually the action will have to convert itself into liking it. Like, I mean, how would the mind be enthused to carry on the action?
Eventually, the mind will like it, but when the mind begins to like it, it's time for a higher idea. So that is always going to be on. Otherwise, you become indulgent in whatever you do. Is that clear? The importance of constantly raising the bar. So whenever you raise the bar, so it's like that. You do something and it's difficult for you, and then you do it and do it and do it till it becomes very easy. And when it becomes easy, you cruise for a little while, relax for a little while, do it. But then after some time, you have to raise the bar. That means this position will always continue until realization. which your intellect is doing something that is a slight struggle for your mind until you begin to enjoy that struggle. So yes, your mind will enjoy it, but when it enjoys, you have to take it back to its original position, which is a little strange.
So
Not
you would have to,
Sorry?
so you would have to endure that bit of agitation when you're raising the bar.
Yes, of course, each time. If you don't, you stagnate. And that's really one of the big problems in spiritual life. That's what happens to most people. They think, oh, now I'm good. Everybody's such a mess and I'm good. And I'm happy and good and productive. They look at it like that and they stay there. So then further movement stops, and then spirituality becomes a mere indulgence. And then when it becomes indulgence, that stagnation causes more and more irritation towards other people who don't do what we think is right. And eventually the agitation builds up enough for people to realize, oops, I seem to have gone wrong somewhere.
Yes, thank you.
So the important thing is we must know before all the agitation starts. Always before agitation starts, we should deal with it, not after. Okay, so who will reach Tamasic action? Who's going to read Tamasic action?
Janki-ji, what should we know before agitation?
I can't hear you.
You said we should know before agitation. What should we know before agitation?
I can hear what should we do and agitation. So I'm not sure what about the agitation we have to do something about.
Okay, I'm just going to write it.
Okay.
She's asking what should we do before agitation when you mentioned.
No. Okay.
No, Janki-ji, what should we know before agitation?
What should we know before agitation? We must know the path before the agitation starts. We must understand how life functions. Okay, so see, why do agitation start? Just think about this. When will agitation start? Let's say there's some change that took place. Therefore, I got agitated. So I must know before, right, that a change is going to take place. Or agitations can start because people are not doing what I think is right. So I should know before that people are not going to do what I think is right, just as I'm not doing what they think is right. So once the whole process of life is clear to us, you are already well taken care of. So some people get agitated because a sudden expense comes upon them. Oh my God, I have to spend so much. Suddenly you're lying in bed and just spending thousands and thousands of rupees. Get very agitating. Besides you're paying, oh my God, so much money just by lying in bed. So you can get very agitated, right? But if you already know that situations will come in life where suddenly there will be expenses, then hopefully your agitations will be less. But if you think like many youngsters do, they say, okay, my income is 2 lakhs. So if I have a monthly expense of 1,95,000, I'm doing very good. Oh no, because suddenly it'll hit you some massive thing. So you can't. If your income is 2 lakhs, then your expense cannot exceed 1 lakh, because suddenly out of the blue, you have to do something. You have to buy a new car, you have to get the house painted, some accident comes about, some near one requires money. You already know, you already anticipate this. For instance, at the beginning of the year, every year, if you knew that I have staff in my house, staff come to work in my house, right? And when staff work in the house, they will not take care of things as much as you believe you will take care of them. You've never actually experimented with that, but you believe that I will take care of it very well, but the staff doesn't. So if you already know this, then you have mentally you have kept mentally a budget that says, okay, by keeping staff, I will have this much additional spend on maintenance. Then every time they break a glass or they break a plate, you don't start crying and shouting and weeping and sobbing and saying, "Ye kya hua, yo kya hua?" You know that that's the way the cookie crumbles. It's no big deal. That's that. Otherwise, you are upset, they are upset, you probably lose your stuff. So if you know what is going to happen before it happens, that thing will not agitate you. So you must understand the picture of life. You have to know before old age comes that old age is going to come. Which youngster believes that old age will come? You know, which person thinks that I'm unable to sit and I'm grateful for that? Which person thinks so? Will you ever think so? And yet there could be a situation in your life where you're able to sit and you feel gratitude that you can now sit. It's an amazing thing. Even if you can, you're lying down in bed and you have to get up and go somewhere. And you get up and go somewhere. Whatever, go to the washroom, go take a call, bring your stuff, whatever. You're lying in bed, you get up and do it. Do you ever feel grateful that you could do it? Basically, when you're lying in bed and you have to get up and go and get something, you're always cribbing, oh, there's nobody here to bring this thing for me. That's how we think, right? But suppose you were in bed and you couldn't get up. And then hopefully one day you could get up on your own, that is. You'd be grateful, right? So why are we not grateful now? So what should you know before the agitation starts? You should know how life functions in itself. So you're prepared for whatever it has to be. It's not that you're expecting it. You're not pessimist, oh my God, what horrible thing is going to happen now. Not like that. But you're prepared. You know that these things can happen and they are part of life. Are you okay, Ashian?
Hanji Janki ji, thank you.
Okay, who will reach Tamasic action?
I will.
Yes, please do.
Tamasic action arises out of confusion, delusion, action with no regard to one's ability, capacity to perform it, with no concern about its consequence, heedless and irresponsible of the loss or injury occurring to another or oneself. Such actions ruin one's strength and vitality, offend human dignity and prestige. Summary: Tamasic action comes out of confusion and delusion with no thought on one's ability or capacity, nor concern about consequences, no care or concern of the loss of injury to oneself or others, therefore ending human dignity and prestige. Sorry, that was the summary.
What is Tamasic action? First, we don't care about consequences. So you are negligent with reference to consequences. Now, this is a very important thing. Please notice this carefully. Please notice the difference between Sattvic and Tamasic. Sattvic was what? He said he didn't think of fruit. What was Rajasic? He thought of fruit. And what is Tamasic? He doesn't think of fruit. Make up your mind, is this Tamasic or Rajas or Sattvic? So please think about this. You now tell me what is the difference. Both people, the Rajasic or the Sattvic as well as the Tamasic, are not concerned with the fruit. What is the difference?
Jankiji, the Sattvic is not craving for the fruit. It's like
I can't hear you, Naim.
the Sattvic is not craving for the fruit. It's like, for example, a child who's preparing for an exam. Let's say a mature person and an adult is preparing for an exam, and
I
he's done.
just can't hear what you're saying.
Oh,
I don't know. Is it me? Is everybody else can't hear also?
Can you guys hear me?
We can hear. Yeah, we can hear him very clearly.
So it seems others can hear me.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's, if an adult is going for an exam, he does all the preparation he can and leaves, and doesn't worry about what the consequence will be because he's done his best. On another side, in the Tamasic way, a student is just not prepared at all and he doesn't care what will happen. So both of them seem to be relaxed with respect to the result. But one has done the best he can and the other has just not done anything.
Very. Okay, I think you said the right thing, Naim. I was guessing most of your words, but I believe you said I'm repeating this. In an exam, for instance, a Sattvic person is working hard to study and do all his things, and he's not concerned about the results. He's doing his stuff. The Tamasic person is also not concerned about the results, but he's busy going to parties and going to enjoying himself. He's just not caring. So not caring about results has to be understood correctly. So many people tell me this. You'll be amazed how many times I hear this. I tell them, if you do this, this will happen. Do you want this thing to happen? They say, but they're not supposed to care about results. I'm pulling my hair out. No, you can't take such actions. It's like Krishna is telling Arjuna, you should not care about results. And Arjuna is saying, Acha, to main chala. I don't care kya hoga. That is negligence. That is not Sattvic. Sattvic means you've done everything. You have worked to the best of your ability. You have left no stone unturned. And you still don't care. You don't care is a power you get because you have confidence in your action, which is different from the negligence of tamas who simply doesn't care. When you have done everything you know how to do, you have done it and you know you have done it, then the result really doesn't matter because you know that you have done the best you could and whatever the result be, so be it, because I have done whatever I could. There is a satisfaction. You don't crave the result because of this great satisfaction in your mind versus the tamasic are simply negligent. So please differentiate. It's a very important distinction. So what do the Tamasic do? They are not concerned with the fruit in the sense like they don't care. Kuch bhi hoga, mera kya jata hai? No, that's not sattva at all. That is simply negligence. And unfortunately, often understood. Sattva is often understood like that. So let's be very careful in this.
Shankiji, one question, if I may. So, can we say that Sattvic action replicates Rajasic and minus the agitation and the lack of craving for fruit of tamas?
Yes, Sattvic action is, imagine there are two roads, okay? There's a Tamasic road and there is a Rajasic road. And the very thin line between the two, that is Sattvic. So it is so basically, why do we do this tamas, rajas, sattva? We do it so that there is a clear understanding of what it is not. So what you have to do in sattvic action is you have to do it to the best of your ability. But when you do it to the best of your ability, you fall into the rajasic thing of when will that fruit come, when will that fruit come. And if you're not caring about the fruit, then you fall into the tamasic thing of becoming negligent. So that line in between tamas and rajas, that tightrope walking is called sattva. And so this is like So the other thing is, it says you do things to the best of your ability, right? So it doesn't restrict what you do. So what the Tamasic people tend to do is, excuse me, they start doing things for which they have no ability at all. A typical example is this crazy thing that most Mumbaikars have. I don't know how many people now are from Mumbai. Naim, are you Mumbai?
Bangalore, Janki ji.
Bangalore. Milind, are you Mumbai?
No, Kalyan.
Where?
Kalyan.
Kalyan, okay. Relatively Mumbai, I would say then. Who else? Usha is in the US, right?
Delhi.
You're in Delhi. Oh, I see. Okay. Tinky, I know, is Hyderabad, right?
Yes, yes, sir.
Manoj, Mumbai, right?
Delhi.
Oh, you're in Delhi. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Essex Farms. Yes, that's right. Delhi. And of course, Mr. Dhada, I know, is from our Varishta class. So, although you are not from Mumbai, may not know this, or you may have the same thing in your cities. But this is a crazy thing. Here, we have very tiny houses, like we have to live in 1 inch. And there's no, look at hardly any greenery. So Mumbaikars are crazy about this second home, which will be a farm, which will have all this wonderful stuff growing, and they will eat their own farm fresh food, and there'll be lots of trees and lots of air to breathe and lots of space, because those are the things not available over here. So they go about buying farms, and people have brought themselves to bankruptcy by doing that, because they don't know anything. They're like corporate executives or professionals or something. They buy a farm, they try and hire some kind of people to look after it for them. That those fellows steal everything and run away. Steal means all the crop is gone before they get to see it. Without understanding what you know, what is your capacity, what are you capable of doing, you start something. Even in karma, you'll be amazed. People come to me and say, oh, this subject is so good, we must promote it, we must do X and Y and Z. And I say, yeah, of course we should. And I'll do X and Y and Z. And that's the last you see of them, because they've made all these promises which they simply can't keep. They have no ability to do that. So, Tamasic action is you start doing things without understanding what is your ability, what is your capacity. Tamasic action is also one. These are all true stories. For us, stories, but for the people, very difficult. One rich girl from one of the wealthiest families fell in love with their driver. And she said, okay, she's always lived in bungalows, she's always had cars and drivers and foreign trips and all that. And her claim is that she will live with this driver in that Jhopatpatti where he stays. Tamasic action. Do you even understand what you're saying? You think you'll go there? Do you realize that the where he stays is smaller than the size of your bathroom, and there is no bathroom where he stays? You realize all these things. No, I love, for love, I can do everything, I can do anything. Seeing too many Hindi movies, this is the result. When you go into that squalor, you will understand what it means. So, lots of things we do without considering what is my ability. Even in exercise, we do that. We take on more than we can handle. In work, we do that. In everything, we do that. The simple thing is, the most common example would probably be in daily life, would be our attempts to clean up our house when it's a mess. Have you ever noticed that you go to clean one cupboard? Then you're cleaning that cupboard and you realize that all these things should be in that cupboard. So then you pick up them and you go to that other cupboard. Then you open it and you are putting it and say, oh, this is to be like this, and then, oh, this can be sorted like that. And these things should be in that cupboard. So you take that. Now, third cupboard you open. At the end of the day, 25 cupboards are open and the house is a bigger mess than it was in the morning. taking on more than you can handle. How many companies do that? Have you realized these companies that try to scale up from a, let's say, 100 crore company to a 500 crore company, many of them collapse. Because they say, no, what brought you here won't take you there. So tamasic action, second quality of tamasic action is, it is done without reference to abilities and capacities. What can you do and what can't you do? There you go and you start having a fight with the policeman. Have you any concept of what these guys can do? Should they take it into the area to do it? When you meet a policeman, you say, yes, sir, no, sir, 3 bags full, sir, and get out of there. Don't worry about arguing it out with him. He holds the power, remember? And are you going to spend your life trying to figure that out? So, all of this comes from a basic sense of delusion or confusion. So what is your confusion? About the importance of the result. So you're negligent about it. Like people who refuse to save, refuse to exercise, they don't care. Oh, dekha jayega, jo hoga. So you don't care about consequences, and you don't care about your capacity or ability to perform that action. This kind of behavior comes under Tamasic Karma. You take up an action without considering consequences. You take up a action without considering capacity, abilities. And the end result is they are detrimental to you, to others. For all you know, you'll end up in jail or you'll be sick or something like that. And sometimes they offend human dignity and prestige. They do something that humans really should not be doing. Tamasic action clear? Basically,
Janki ji, a clarification. Isn't it also tamasic when you don't know the consequences of your action? Like you have the ability to do something, but then you exercise that ability to the extent that you sort of cause damage. I mean, I'm speaking more in terms of, how we overconsume. You have the ability to get something and you get it to the extent where you don't need it and it might end up damaging the environment around you. Is it also my question? I hope I'm making sense.
Well, Akhila, is it?
Yeah.
Yes, Akhila, but in this case, you will have to consider why that person did it. If the person did it because, okay, so I don't need another set of diamonds, and I get them because I love them. They look beautiful and I really wanted them, and my friend had also got it, so I wanted to. This kind of behavior is a Rajasic action. But I got this set of diamonds without even checking. I paid with my credit card without even checking what is my bank balance. That kind of thing will become Tamasic action. Now, what is its effect on the environment is all part of the not checking anything. You did it out of confusion, out of delusion, out of ignorance, whatever. You didn't check anything. Like, okay, I want to have fur coats, but you can't get a fur coat unless some poor animal dies, for heaven's sake. So all this is simply not coming to your mind. Or any type of overconsumption, like you're saying, wasting water. What is the consequence of wasting water? Even when you're brushing. Why do you need that tap open while you're brushing? No, keep it open while I'm brushing. All that is Tamasic action. It's not that you like it, it's just that you just don't consider consequences. Confused about the damage you're doing. Throwing plastic out. You're not considered. It's like blank about it.
Yeah, so to not knowing how to use your ability can also be tamasic, right? In that sense.
Not knowing how to use your ability.
How to, like, you have an ability, but then not able to put that checks and balances, like basically not having that vision, not able to see what could be the extent of the damage that your action can have. That would also be then tamasic, right? Because I felt that the discussion was about your ability, not knowing your ability, but then having an ability and not knowing how to use it properly can also be tamasic then, right?
That's the same thing, no? If you
Okay.
not using it properly means exceeding.
Yeah.
What else can
Yeah.
it mean?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Janki. Yeah.
Hari Om, ma'am. Question, please.
Yep.
Is it mandatory that the Sattvic actor is going to realize the fruit, or is he just better prepared to handle the disappointment that even if there's no fruit, I'll be fine with it?
The Sattvic actor has done his part so well. Other one purpose. The Sattvic actor has used his own abilities, his capacities, his intellect, everything so well, so perfectly, that he derives from it itself so much satisfaction that he doesn't need to crave for the fruit. Now the fruit is a mere adjunct to him. Why do we crave the fruit so much? We crave the fruit so much because there's an incompleteness in our happiness in the first place. But he has imagined a person who moment to moment does what he's supposed to do. The satisfaction that life has is if the fruit doesn't come, there was no craving for the fruit in the first place. So it's coming or not coming is not really impacting him that much. It's already satisfied. It's like you have had a full meal, and then some guests came into the house and you cooked something for them, and then they ate it and nothing was left for you. How will you feel? Remember, you already had a full meal. Versus, you haven't had your food, you cook something for the guest and nothing is left for you. Can you see the anger in the second case? The disappointment, the anger, the frustration, which will simply not be available in the first place. Is that clear?
Got it. Thank you.
That is the greatness of Sattvic action. It is fulfilling in itself. That's why they don't want the fruit. It's not that they don't want the fruit. They will keep working till their dying day. They'll work for the fruit. But they're doing it because it's the right thing to do. Not because it makes an iota of difference in their life whether that fruit comes or not.
Jankiji, question. Tamasic people will live in ignorance.
Naeem, can you write it down because I really can't hear.
Okay.
Jankiji, if I may, can I ask one question?
Yes.
So going back to tamasic action, so wrong actions lead to disastrous consequences. Would this cycle repeat itself? Would the extent of redemption depend on the ray of sattva the person has?
Everybody has sattva, right? So at any point, no matter how bad the situation is, we can redeem ourselves. The problem is we don't want. Yes, so yes, everybody has sattva and everybody has that ability. Every human has that ability. No matter how bad the condition is, he can make it better. His intellect, his sattvic content will enable him to do that. The problem is always, does he want to? Have you not seen people like that? You could even tell them what is the best thing for them. And you know that if they do that, that the situation will improve. But they won't take it. They don't want the situation to improve. Why don't people want the situation to improve?
They are used to the suffering.
A known suffering is better than an unknown joy to the mind. Like what is comfortable is always the known. They had to move from FTS's office, such a nice office, and come into my own. Now it's not so comfortable, right? That was better for us. But okay, now we have to be here. So any change is not nice for the mind.
Thank you.
Janki ji, I have a question.
1 second, Omkar. Just let me read what Naim has written. Tamasic live in ignorance and continue to go into greater and greater depths of darkness. At what point will be awake? What can cause that awakening into Rajas? Naim, if you ever find the answer, let me also know. I spend my life trying to figure this out. Nowhere is there an answer to this, because a human being has a choice of action. He is capable at any given moment of choosing to do better. Why does he choose at that point and not at some other point? Nobody knows. And in Rama, right, you reach Rama's condition, because Rama asked his guru, sage Vashishta, the same question. He said, what makes this person? We were all of us on the same thing. Why are few of us in the class pursuing this knowledge? Why? So Rama says, why? What makes this person change? And sage Vashishta, I can only tell you what Vashishta replies to that question. He says, seeds fall. Some fall on rocky land, some fall on fertile land. Who is to say? No. The greatest thing is that at any point, you and I and everybody can wake up and do it. Anybody, anytime. Almost random. You could be 9, you could be on at 99% growth, on the verge of realization, and choose not to. You could be at 1% growth and choose that you have to. What makes this choice? Nobody knows. You can do some research. If you come up with the answer, you can let us know. But in the last 5,000 years of Vedanta, we have decided that this question cannot be answered. And I don't know if you're doing the Vedanta basic course. I seriously recommend everybody do it, so that you're at least, everybody knows at least the basic foundational stuff. When we do the law of causation, and we study this irritating element that is available in human life, known as Purushartha. It's a very fascinating study, Purushartha, because Purushartha is a human being's capacity to choose. And this capacity is independent of everything. But we won't start discussing Purushartha, because that's one topic that never gets over. It is an almost incomprehensible topic. So, answer 9, I don't know, in short. Omkar?
In Tamasic action, one of the conditions he mentions is action with no regard to one's ability, capacity to perform it. How is one to know one's ability and capacity to perform beforehand? For example, we are taking up this humongous job of the university.
I was wondering if anybody would say, is that Tamasic action? Yes, correct. Good example.
So how would we know we are even ready for that, or we have the capacity or the ability beforehand?
We already know we have no capacity and no ability to do that. We have neither the expertise, nor the funds, nor the support that is required to do all this stuff. We already know that. So what do? We don't try to jump the ocean like Hanuman straight away. We go step by step. What is it we need to do? We first need to procure land. So our first step will be procurement of land. That is what we need to do. So we'll have to raise the funds and procure the land. Okay, and like that you go step by step. Anybody can conceive any vision. And the greater your vision, the better for you, because the more difficult it will be and the more it will bring your abilities to the forefront. But your steps must be very clear, and your step can only be the next one. The step cannot be anything but the next one. When your step is not the next one, but you go through the whole thing all at once, that's when the trouble starts. So if you want to grow your business, suppose Omkar, you want a business of 500 crores, that's your goal. You say, I want a turnover of 500 crores. So you have to first ask yourself, what is my current turnover? If my current turnover is 2 rupees, then my next step is to make it 10 rupees. You cannot start going into 500 crores. So going beyond my capacity means at any point your capacity is what is now. Right now, what is your capacity? What can you do? Do that much. Is that clear?
Yeah, so you must be aware of your capacity towards the final goal, not the next small goal, right?
How can you ever know that? You can't know that. But you can know that whatever a final goal is just an image in your mind. It's just a direction to your action. What you have to do is take the next step. So are you taking the next step which you are capable of taking? With some difficulty, of course. Are you stretching your own abilities? Or are you exceeding your abilities? This is a discrimination you have to have. Nobody else can have that for you. You're the one who has all the data on yourself. Remember, in Vedanta, the individual is most important. Everything is around the individual. The Guru also speaks to the individual. You have to know. You take responsibility. First, you have to examine that. 9 out of 10 times you don't examine anything. Like how people get married. Do you think married is an example of tamasic action? कुछ भी पता नहीं है और चल पड़े शादी करने. But first find out what is marriage, what makes a marriage work. Have a conversation with whoever you're planning to get married. What is it you want? Everybody says, but I told that person everything I wanted. But forget what you told that person. What did that person tell you? Were you listening? What were the goals of that person? Did you register? Do you know whether the person registered what you said were your goals? And if your goals were not important enough for you to ensure that your partner knows them, appreciates them, and has agreed to them, then what were you doing? Which one are you finding unimportant, your goal or your partner? Okay, take somebody who's into Vedanta. Okay, and their life is dedicated to Vedanta. Is it possible that such a person can choose to marry somebody who would not support that? Support it doesn't mean that they have to actively do anything, but at least they don't come in the way, for heaven's sake. That much must be clear. Otherwise, are you mad? What are you doing? So when you're getting married, what is it you're looking for out of life? What is the other person looking for out of life? What is the purpose of marriage according to you and according to the other person? All of that, if you have not considered, chal pade shaadi karne, then tamasic action. Not considered anything. So everything can become tamasic action. What is my ability to be married? How can I tell before I'm married? Can't. So what can I tell? That I have done my due diligence. Is that clear?
Yeah, yes. Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
No, the example is too late for you now. Everybody is married, no, now. In this class, I think most are married. Naim, are you married?
Divorced.
Oh, okay, so well, then you can see for next time, make sure that you have done due diligence.
Janki, I have a question. Kinnari, can you hear me?
I heard the question. I heard this much.
Yeah, okay. When you said regarding the tamasic action, that when you set out to clean a cupboard, you overdo it and then everything is in a mess. But not doing it at all also would be tamasic, right? That procrastinating or not concerned that if I don't do it, it will still be a mess. So that is also tamasic, right?
Yes, but remember, we are doing not tamas right now. What are we doing right now?
We are doing tamasic action.
Tamasic action. So we are talking about the action that you took out of delusion.
I didn't get it.
We are talking about action, right?
Yeah.
So we are explaining which of those actions which we do are tamasic in nature. We are talking about action. One aspect of tamas is that you don't do action.
Okay.
But here we are talking about the actions which are tamasic.
Okay, okay. Got it. Thank you.
Janki ji, Shanti here. May I?
Yeah. Did you say Shanti?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Shanti.
In the case of Sattvic, we said it is a thoughtful action towards a higher goal. And in the case of Tamasic, we said it's thoughtless action with no heed to the consequences. So in the case of Tamasic, is there a goal at all? Do they have anything as a goal in their, or they just swing by life as it comes?
Yeah, they swing by life as it comes, mainly out of delusion. Even Rajasic swing by life as it comes.
Okay.
But Tamasic are one stage worse. It's out of delusion, it's out of confusion. Tamasic people are not, Rajasic people are not necessarily stupid. But Tamasic are really doing stupid things.
So the difference is that Sattvic has a goal and thinks about how to achieve that goal. So their action becomes more thoughtful. Since Tamasic has no goal, their action itself is arising out of delusion only. Is that the way to put it?
No goal and no application both.
No application also. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
A Rajasic person, but I don't know why you're leaving out Rajasic in that. Rajasic people may or may not have a goal. Those who are working on likes and dislikes, they don't have a goal, obviously. But those who are working on the fruit, they may be having a goal and they will apply themselves towards achievement of that goal. Like any other corporate executives, they do their MBAs, their IIM, their Harvard and Wharton, and they've done the whole thing. They're in Ivy League colleges, they've done everything according to them they have to do, whether they like it or not. The scores are super. But the goal is totally self-centered. And so the stress on them is amazing.
So they can fall into both. Can have a goal, need not have a goal, but their action is more anxiety ridden and result oriented.
Yeah, the consequence of the action. They have thought about their action. They've thought, what will I do to get this thing? They plan it beautifully, right?
Right.
I mean, even their colleges force them to plan their career.
Right.
But it is all centered around personal well-being and personal interest and
craving for the results.
Pity.
Thank you, ma'am.
Janki ji, nowhere is the word goal mentioned in all the three. But in Sattvic, they have obligatory duties is mentioned. So are we to understand that to be the goal?
Tell me, how do you determine your obligatory duty?
Yes. So yes, by determining your goal.
How can you have obligatory duty without a goal? What becomes your duty if you don't know where you're headed? It's impossible, right? It's assumed that should Arjuna fight the war or not is entirely dependent on whether he wants to re-establish righteousness or not. If there's no goal, then where's the duty? Okay, so is it clear? Action clear, everyone?
Janki, I have written a question.
Oh, have you one second?
So it's like, can we say we need to have sense
No,
of
it's okay. I'll read it. Can we say we need to have sense of completeness to do a Sattvic action? Before that, it remains a Rajasic action. No, Manoj. The sense of completeness is the side effect, is the byproduct of a Sattvic action. Whenever we do a Sattvic action, we will feel that sense of completeness. You don't need it to do a Sattvic action. To do the action, in fact, may be painful. But when you do it, you will get that feeling that I've done. I think about it, na? When Shahid Bhagat Singh, he's at the gallows. He's failed to get the independence he wanted for the country. But how does he feel? It's okay. He's given up his life to do that thing, not achieved it, and he's okay. And we made the least of failures think of how we feel. Here's a man who actually killed himself for his goal. And he's still okay that he hasn't got it. What must be the satisfaction of a person's mind that he does not depend upon any worldly end? You know, we want to set up this university because we do think that this was the greatest service we could probably do to humanity if we can get this into proper academics. When I say academics also, it gives people, yesterday somebody said to me, why are you making it academic? We are spiritual. Why are we making it academic as if being academic is a bad word? And it is said, and you know, the way academics is done nowadays, it has probably become a bad word. It's all done for how will I get a good career and mug up something and force yourself to study or some awful thing. You don't see education as a way to blossom, as a way to grow, as a way for humanity to move forward. And therefore, we must convert education back to what it is meant to be. It's meant to be a joy for humans. It's meant to make us blossom. We must convert it back, not say, oh, academics is horrible. No, it's not. India has a fabulous tradition of academics. The whole world used to come here to study, not because we offered them a job if they came, but because there's some stuff in that. So now we set off to do this university and we keep it as our target, our goal. And it's very high for us because what are we, small, you and I sitting together saying we'll start a university? People will say, sab pagal ho gaya hai. But we put that very high goal up. And then we do the best we can. And we may die. And the university may never come up because we're going against a prevalent system, right? But if we have really worked for whatever cause we have worked, it doesn't matter at the end of the day, whether we achieved it or not. If we struggled, tried to put it up, we couldn't put it up, and we died, then we've just made the path easier for the next person to come and one day put it up. So what is there to regret? What regret can there ever be if you've ever just done the very best you can? So the work may not be, the work may cause strain to the individual, but the doing it causes that satisfaction as a byproduct because the individual is not supposed to be interested in that. Yeah?
Thank you, madam.
Sahu Menon, can we say that a karma yogi and a sattvic actor are the same? I don't know because I don't know because it all depends on your definition of these terms. In the true sense, yes, of course. But if you take karma yogi, you hear, he's a great karma yogi because he did a lot of social work and all, not like that. But if you take it in the right sense, in the way we have determined, if we have defined everything, then yes, they're the same. Okay. So then that's it. We did Satwik, Rajasic, and Tamasic action today. We will do Karta next time. Is that what's next in your book? Karta? Okay, so we'll do Karta next time. Shouldn't be very difficult because obviously they have to be closely interlinked.